You better get your life. Get your life. Yes, y'all. Come on now, sign up for ifyoucanmove.com. All right, go in and buy some things from Team LASHAE. Get your workout journey going. Y'all know how y'all do. It's about to be January. Y'all gonna have, wants and resolutions and all of that, and then y'all not gonna stick to them. So once y'all start it off right, okay, get y'all some TLC products to clean out all that food and alcohol that y'all drinking. Get you some NutriBurst to replenish you so you don't be out here getting sick and getting a cold. Okay, keep yourself healthy. Try that sea moss that get that phlegm up out you. Okay, y'all go and check out TLC products because they really will help you stay, on track with your journey and aid you in your process. Sign up for Team LASHAE and sign up for the online gym. Go check out and see what my girl got. Y'all know I'm also an affiliate for her boutique, Peja and Amari, which has really cute workout clothing and jackets and masks and just all kind of cute stuff. So y'all go and check out that link. Sign up for my Patreon so you can be on my Discord. Y'all support in all of these different ways. Check down below in the description box. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondy Blue and I am back for another Iyanla Fix My Life. Y'all, this episode was very interesting to me. First of all, I feel like it spoke volumes about how families or people in general can let things fester. Little issues or problems or altercations that you have, you never resolve them and shit just keeps building and building. Also, Iyanla is always bringing forth the pathology of how people repeat mistakes when they don't address them. Okay, which is why I love to address shit. Okay, I don't know if y'all know, but I'm not one of those people that like to leave things to fester or stay quiet about things. I'm one of those people that like to get the shit out on the table and say how I feel. You ain't gonna have me stroking out because, we mad at each other or something that went down. No, I'm gonna say it and it's gonna be what it is. Okay. So thank you, Grandma, for my grandma myself. It is the one that spent like the most time with me outside of my parents when I was young. And she was very much a whatever come up, come out type person. And because I have that personality, I don't allow for shit to stay inside me too long. Okay, I ain't got time for that. But that's what, has happened on the trauma train this episode. So this is how the story goes. Okay, Miss Lula was in a 45-year relationship with a white woman named Miss Nancy. Okay, Miss Lula already had 4 kids by the time she got into her relationship with Miss Nancy. They were together for 45 years. Okay, during the course of their relationship, Miss Lula gets pregnant with Yolanda. Okay, she actually went down to the welfare office and her caseworker was sweet on her. So she invited him over to the house. They had sex. She got pregnant, and now this baby was she and Miss Nancy's baby. This baby is Yolanda, okay? But because of them growing up in the South in the 70s, they really kept their relationship quiet. Even though it was obvious they're sleeping in the same bed, they living together. Miss Nancy and Miss Lula are in a relationship, but they were never honest. They never talked about it. And so Yolanda grew up not knowing who her father was, not knowing who the other side of her was, not looking like her other siblings, and feeling very much, separated from who she was, not knowing who she was. In order to make up for that, there was a lot of spoiling that was going on. So Miss Nancy would slip Yolanda money in order to get her to act right. And you do that over, a long period of time, somebody becomes entitled and they feel like they deserve money and they don't have to act right. They can have these outbursts. And I kind of feel like I totally understand this type of personality where you're trying to make up for the loss of one of the parents. So you spoil the child. And the child then grows up to be an asshole because they feel entitled to shit because somebody was always giving them something in order for them to act right. They didn't never just have to act right because that's what you're supposed to do. They act right because somebody slipped them money. Okay? So what happened was when Miss Nancy was on her deathbed, she was in a lot of pain. Yolanda wanted them to give her the morphine drip. And if you get the morphine drip, then you go under and you don't wake up. Okay, now Yolanda has a son named Justin. He has a wife named Derica. Derica was just fresh out of nursing school, and she basically told Miss Lula, if y'all put Miss Nancy under, she's not going to wake up. So Miss Lula didn't want to put her under. Yolanda felt like that was selfish and that they were putting Miss Nancy through unnecessary pain just because Miss Lula wasn't ready to let her go. Okay, so Miss Lula goes running out of the hospital room. They, and said, okay, y'all just do whatever y'all want to. She maybe didn't mean it, but by the time she comes back, Miss Nancy is on this drip and she's out, and after that she passes away. So Miss Lula is holding a lot of resentment towards Yolanda because she feels like you took those last moments away from me. Okay, so there's that. On top of that, Justin heard Yolanda whisper to Miss Nancy that since you're not going to be here to slip $100 bills in my pocket anymore, make sure you leave me something nice. So there was supposed to be some type of inheritance that Yolanda didn't get. And so Yolanda felt some type of way about that. Justin is looking at his mom, Yolanda, like you're all about the money. So he kind of disengaged from her. Also, she threatened to stab his wife, Derica. She just doesn't like Derica for some reason. I don't know. But she was upset that Miss Lula took Derica's advice, even though Derica was 100% right in what she said, and it actually happened exactly like Derica said it would happen. She still doesn't like Derica for some reason. She also doesn't respect her son as a man, okay? And this goes back to the pathology. So Miss Lula was in abusive relationships with men before she got with Miss Nancy. Then Yolanda was in abusive relationships with men. And then her daughter, Lauren, Justin's sister, also got in an abusive relationship with a man who she had children with, who she ran away with, all because of her mother's antics. Yolanda called the police on her daughter, Lauren, and threatened to get her kids taken away. So when that happened, that created, this separation between she and her daughter. Her daughter runs away with the abusive man. The abusive man was also friends with Justin. So Yolanda is mad at her daughter for staying with the abusive man and upset at her son because her son didn't follow in her footsteps and, basically shun Lauren for staying in a relationship with him. He was also friends with Lauren's old man, who was said to be abusive. He felt like he was trying to be close to his sister so that he could see if there was some abuse, but he would never allow a man to abuse his sister in front of him. That's not how Yolanda understands it. Yolanda is basically making everyone responsible for the abusive relationships that she's been in. So Yolanda not only called the police on her daughter, she also did it to Uncle Daddy Herbert. Okay, Uncle Daddy Herbert is Miss Lula's brother. So right after Miss Nancy died, all the kids were at Miss Lula's house and they were fighting and arguing, specifically because Yolanda doesn't like Derica. Didn't like that Derica told Miss Lula to, not give Miss Nancy the morphine drip. Why are you listening to this bitch? Okay, whatever the issue is, she doesn't like Derica. So they get into this altercation. And Miss Lula calls her brother, Uncle Daddy Herbert, to come over and, kind of get her together. All right. But what happens is Yolanda jumps in his face. Okay. It's all in this man's face, and he pushed her away. He pushed her away. Okay. However he pushed her, she gets upset, calls the police on him. He gets arrested. They had to go to court. Miss Lula, who felt responsible for bringing her brother into this hostile situation, gets on the stand and tells the truth that he was just pushing her out of his face because she was all in his face doing the most. Okay, Yolanda gets pissed at Miss Lula for that. Okay, so now she's mad at her mom because she feels like her mom took Uncle Daddy's side. But the truth of the matter is, you were wrong for the way you handled Uncle Daddy. Yolanda swears up and down that he grabbed her by her throat and pushed her through all of these chairs, and basically that he did more than he really did. To me, it seemed as if Yolanda was lying and putting 20 on 10 because she wanted people to believe that Uncle Daddy was this abusive man, because she sees every man as an abusive man because of what she's been through. Okay, also, the pathology in their family. Your mom's been in an abusive relationship, you've been in an abusive relationship, now your daughter in an abusive relationship. It's just a lot of abuse in this family. And Miss Yolanda has become the abuser and somewhat of a bully because of what she's gone through, and also because she's spoiled in the entitlement that Miss Nancy and Miss Lula afforded her. Okay, she was special to them, so I feel like they allowed her to get away with a lot of things when there should have been some checks and balances. Okay, she even said herself that she went looking for the structure in a man, and that's how she got in an abusive relationship, because she didn't have that discipline and structure at home with Miss Lula and Miss Nancy, who were really just trying to protect themselves and their children from the outside world's view of their lesbian relationship. Okay, so it's a lot of, you know, sweeping shit under the rug, not really talking about things, not really dealing with things, and it has caused issues. And that's why I always say it's better to be honest with your kids than to try to hide things from them, because kids aren't dumb. They hear conversations, they feel energy, they know something is wrong, and whether they know the truth of the matter or not, it will still negatively affect them. So it's best to explain things and let them have an understanding so that they don't create these issues within themselves from not knowing. And that's what happened in this family. Uncle Daddy is pissed at Yolanda, like really pissed. And, you know, ain't really trying to hear nothing from her. At some point, you know, when we get to the end of the episode, because I think it was a two-parter, I watched it on YouTube, but at some point she wants to apologize to him for her part in it. And he really wasn't that receptive, you know, because you took his freedom away from him. You put a black older man in the hands of the police when he didn't have to be. And just like she called the police on her daughter, you know what I'm saying? Or threatened to call the police on her daughter. But it's just extreme ways of dealing with people who you have an issue with that you're supposed to love, specifically your daughter. Why would you threaten to get her kids taken away? Apparently she felt like she was trying to save her daughter because nobody interfered when she was in an abusive relationship. So she feels like the things that she did were called for because she was trying to protect her daughter. But her daughter looks at it as antics. Okay, you called the police. I kind of feel like Yolanda handled shit messed up. Like, that was so out of pocket. Why would you do that? Especially if there was no real danger to the kids. I feel like that was messed up, you know, to put your daughter in that position, because that forced her to run towards this abusive man even more. When Iyanla talks to her oldest son, Justin, his issue with his mom, and he's a lot like his mom. Like, Yolanda will cut people off, so will Justin. Justin will just cut your ass off. Okay, child, I'm kind of one of those people. I don't have time for nobody disrupting my energy. I will cut you the fuck off, okay? His issue stemmed from, as a child, trying to interfere with his mom and her abusive relationship, and Yolanda telling Justin that she would choose her man over him. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why he didn't want to give his sister an ultimatum about her abusive relationship, because what he learned is a woman will always choose her abusive man over him. Okay, and I'm like, I think it's so funny that the mom, Yolanda, is holding Justin responsible for the abusive relationship between Lauren and her man, when you literally told him that you would choose your abusive husband over him. So why would he ever get involved in an abusive relationship in that way when his own mother would choose an abusive man over him? You know what I'm saying? So he handled the situation with Lauren the way he did because of the way his mother reacted. But she blames him, you know, and actually said that she didn't see him as a man because of that. Mind you, he has a successful wife. He has kids he takes care of. He is a man. And he should be respected as such, okay? You didn't raise him to be the type of man that you're now mad at him for not being. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't raise him up to be the example that you want. So it's like, how can you be mad at him when you failed him? Iyanla told Yolanda, child, those names, okay, told her that she needed to understand that she had broken her kids. Okay, you broke his heart when you told him that you would choose your abusive man over him. You broke your daughter's heart when you pushed her in the arms of that abusive man by handling her the way that you did. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's thinking she's handling it the right way, but she wasn't. When they talked to Uncle Daddy alone, he says that he was very disappointed in himself, which I was happy to hear. But you did put your hands on Yolanda. So there is definitely, you know, some responsibility on his part that he took by saying he was disappointed in losing his temper. But Yolanda never really takes responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Always the victim. Doesn't want to take responsibility for the fact that you jumped in this grown man's face. And even as they're sitting down talking, you calling him a punk. Doing way too much. Doing way too much. So Iyanla talks to Yolanda alone. And this is when, you know, Yolanda explains that none of her or her siblings knew their fathers. And that created, you know, a sense of not knowing, you know, not knowing themselves, not knowing where they come from. And that's a part of a lot of people's issue. Like, you can't not explain to a child where their father is. Like, you can't not explain that and think that they're not going to have issue with you. They talk about how Yolanda sent a picture to her mom with bitch written over her face, saying that she didn't deserve the daughter. She didn't deserve Yolanda. All because she got on the stand and told the truth about what happened between Uncle Daddy and Yolanda, which is that he didn't just assault you. You got in his face and he pushed you away from him. Okay? You were doing too much, but she wants to be the victim. The thing I love about Iyanla is that she wants everybody to see that they played a part, because everybody likes to do the blame game shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm somebody that recognizes that everybody plays a part in the breakdown in communication and of relationships. Everybody plays a part, okay? So putting the blame all on one person, it never makes the situation any better. So Yolanda not taking responsibility doesn't make the situation better. The kids, you know, Miss Lula, everybody played a part in the breakdown in this family. And I love that Iyanla told them they needed to recognize that and take responsibility for their own actions in order for there to be some peace in the family. You can't just put all of the blame on one person. I feel like a lot of y'all need to learn that. Just saying. Iyanla talks to Yolanda the next day about the way she and Uncle Daddy went at each other and how she was completely out of order for calling him a punk. And she said she didn't like the fact that he minimized what happened. I don't know whether he minimized it or whether she was putting 20 on 10, but either way, he's already taken responsibility for his actions. She hasn't. Iyanla tells her that she needs to check herself because she's making everybody responsible for the abusive relationships that she's been in. And it's because she hasn't dealt with the abuse. A lot of us don't deal with our issues. We just kind of go through life and we keep going and we keep pushing. And that's the way, you know, we've learned to cope, but it doesn't do anything but just keep putting more shit on top of more shit. We also understand that Yolanda never talked to her mom about the abusive relationship that she was in, which is unfortunate because they could have shared that. You know, like, y'all, you have got to talk to your kids, y'all. Like, I feel like I knew for a very, I don't know if I ever didn't know that my mom was in an abusive relationship. I always had an understanding of certain things. And I think it saved me from a lot of turmoil, was understanding shit at a young age. Okay? So y'all stop thinking y'all kids are too slow, too young to understand certain things. They're not. It's best for them to have understandings of certain things so that they don't go through life making wrong decisions based on misinformation just because you thought that you were protecting them when really you were doing them a disservice by not being honest with them. If Miss Lula had talked to Yolanda about the abusive relationships that she had been in, it might have saved Miss Yolanda from going through that herself and therefore saved her daughter Lauren from going through it. Yolanda has been abusive towards her kids and made it hard for them to express themselves with her, which she really didn't have an understanding. I'm like, how you don't understand that you've made it hard for them children to want to talk to you the way you respond? Like, girl, you done did the most. Iyanla brings her daughter Lauren in, and Yolanda explains to her daughter that she hasn't dealt with her abuse. Lauren has been abused and she didn't share that with her mom because her mom, you know, pushed her away. Yolanda felt like she was fighting for Lauren's life when she threatened to get her kids taken away. Yolanda says that she's willing to trust her daughter's decisions at this point. I was really grateful for Yolanda coming to the table ready to let go of a lot of this, but it was hard to feel that it was genuine sometimes because she still would play victim at certain times throughout the process. But there were moments when she definitely had clarity, and this was one of those moments, realizing that you have to trust your adult children to make their own decisions. The youngest, KJ, who feels ignored, Iyanla actually let him sit in her chair and, you know, basically disseminate what he thinks is going on with each person. And he says that everybody needs to stop sweeping things under the rug and they need to put themselves in the other person's shoes. Have some sympathy, have some compassion for the other people and try to understand where they're coming from. I think that that's lost upon a lot of people in general. It's not being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You need to be able to do that. Just saying. That's a part of self-growth. It's being able to understand not only your perspective, but someone else's perspective in the same situation. Iyanla talks to Justin alone. And because Justin doesn't trust his mother with his heart, because she broke it, Iyanla mediates their conversation. Yolanda is mad at Justin for continuing to have a relationship with Lauren's abusive boyfriend. He says he was trying to keep her close because he wanted to be able to make sure he was there for her if something actually did happen. And that's when we get on the conversation about how he didn't want to ostracize Lauren because of what his mom did to him at an early age. Chose her abusive man over him. This is when she told him she didn't respect him as a man, which was very hurtful. And I'm so glad that Iyanla got her together. You need to understand that as his mother, you can break his heart over and over again. The words that you speak are directly connected to this young man's heart. Okay, you have a huge responsibility to watch the way you talk to your son because you can break him down. Okay, you can dictate the type of man, the type of father, the type of husband he becomes by the way you pour into him. And that is such a true statement. A lot of women don't realize that the way they talk to their children, the way they talk to their sons specifically dictate the way they become men in this world. Like, definitely need to handle your sons with kid gloves as it pertains to the way you talk to them. But I also feel like a lot of women don't give their sons the responsibility factor. They always do everything for them and then at the same time tear them down verbally. You know what I'm saying? So you're making a weak-minded man and you're making him weak as far as the responsibility factor. You know, that may not be exactly the situation between she and Justin, because Justin is very much a responsible man. But I do feel like a lot of the times women handle their sons differently than the way they handle their daughters. You know, like you give your daughters all the responsibility in the world and you go easy on your sons. But at the same time, verbally abusing them, therefore, you know, basically breaking them down. When Iyanla tries to bring to Yolanda's attention that she deflects, whenever they bring to her what she's done, oh, well, what he's done to me. You the mama. You the mama, lady. You have more of a responsibility to control your emotions and control what you say than your children do. I don't understand why that's so hard to understand. Justin says, I can only imagine what Yolanda says about me to my siblings. So they bring Lauren in. And Lauren, you know, says that Yolanda will say things like she only has 3 kids instead of 4. Iyanla tells Yolanda that she needs to stop doing that shit and she needs to ask for forgiveness and a clean slate. So she and Justin have that moment and then they go off, you know, alone to themselves while Iyanla talks to Lauren. But it doesn't last for long. They start to argue all over again because he feels like his mom is materialistic and money hungry. You know, bringing up this inheritance shit, bringing up this money that Miss Nancy was supposed to leave her. Like, that upset him. So he just walks away and he goes back into the room with Iyanla and Lauren. Yolanda said that her son Justin didn't protect her from Herbert. He felt like that was more of a situation between her and Miss Lula. You know what I'm saying? But I also feel like your son shouldn't have to protect you if you don't put him in situations where he has to. You should have controlled yourself. You shouldn't have got in that man's face. He shouldn't have had to jump in and fight Uncle Herbert because you jumping all in Uncle Herbert's face. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like that she was making him responsible for her actions in that way. Like, no, you need to protect your son by not getting in another grown man's face and making him feel the need to protect you. But anyway, Justin doesn't want her around his kids. And Lauren is like, I would never let her hurt your kids. And he's like, it doesn't matter. She can say anything around my kids. We've seen the way she's talked around your kids, the way she talked around KJ. I don't want her around my kids. And Iyanla has to make Lauren understand that he set a boundary and she needs to respect that boundary. They all come together and KJ mediates. KJ tells Uncle Daddy that he was wrong. And, you know, even though that caused a breakdown, you know, in his relationship with Uncle Daddy, he lost respect for him when he put his hands on Yolanda, because that's his mother. But ultimately, he did take responsibility, and KJ respects that. But ultimately, Uncle Daddy took responsibility. Then they talk about how Miss Lula was never honest about her relationship with Miss Nancy. And she said she was trying to protect herself, and she was trying to protect them. And I understand that. But ultimately, you know, I think that we should always have honest conversations in the house. You know what I mean? Like, your children shouldn't have to hear about the truth about what's going on in their home from other kids who don't even know. You know what I mean? That should never have had to come from other people first, Miss Lula. KJ asked Justin why he didn't grow up with them. And Justin says because his mom left Justin and Lauren when she went to go and live with her abusive husband. So because of that, he wasn't really around. Then they bring Miss Lula and Miss Yolanda together, just the two of them. And I love the way Miss Lula let Yolanda know that Nancy didn't have money. The only reason Nancy was able to slip you those $100 bills is because I gave it to her to give to you. So just know that it wasn't her, it was us that were providing you with that. Also, Miss Yolanda actually gets the breakdown on, you know, how she came into this world. Miss Lula explains how she slept with the caseworker and how really that child, Yolanda, was supposed to be she and Nancy's child. But that was never really explained to her. And Yolanda says if she had known the truth, she would have felt special that she was brought into this world to be Nancy and Miss Lula's child versus the other 4 children that were really just Miss Lula's children. They also discuss how when Miss Nancy and Miss Lula first met, she just went and got a house and came, you know, to Miss Lula's apartment with a U-Haul and was like, all right, let's go. And they all moved into a home together, you know. So Miss Nancy, you know, as a white woman in this world, took on the responsibility of a black woman and her 4 children. Like, their relationship obviously was, you know, a very deep and profound one in that time frame. So I think that a lot of the mistakes that Miss Lula made weren't intentional. You know what I'm saying? She didn't intentionally lie to y'all. She thought she was protecting you. And that's unfortunate, but you know, that just goes to show honesty is sometimes the best policy. And at the end, they all come together and Miss Yolanda, you know, asks Uncle Herbert for forgiveness and the rest of the family for forgiveness. And he wasn't really trying to hear her, but it was still a start. It was still a start. Miss Lula and her, you know, daughter Yolanda are working on their relationship. I miss whether Justin and his mom were ever to have a come to Jesus moment, but it's a start. It's a start. There was some accountability. There was some growth. But we all know that Iyanla can only put the honesty and the real shit on the table. It's after, all the after work, all the working on the relationships after the fact that really are the testament to the work that they've done. Either way, I feel like I'm so sad that this is going to be the last season of Iyanla, because I feel like she always brings things to the forefront that are prevalent in everybody's families. Like, if you're watching this, you should always be able to find yourself or your family in one of the episodes. And I think that's such a great thing, because a lot of black families have all of this pathology that we never get a chance to deal with because we have to scratch and survive good times. You know, if you have to worry about putting food on the table, you can't worry about your child's mental psyche because you're worrying about them starving to death, okay? Them having shelter, them having clothing. You're worrying about those types of things. So you can't worry about their mental and emotional, you know what I'm saying, in the same way that, you know, I feel like white people are able to, you know what I mean? Because they have had a head start on acquiring wealth, on acquiring stability in this society, you know what I mean? So I think that, you know, it's going to be sad when Iyanla Fix My Life is over completely. But this was still a really good episode, y'all. I ain't going to tell y'all the family member it made me think about. But I know family members that really take no accountability for the way that they act, and that they don't have that same control that they should have as a parent over their children, because they're always coming down to their children's level. You know what I'm saying? Doing shit that they shouldn't be doing as the parent. I think that when parents are reactionary and they don't sit and think about the things that they say and do beforehand, they create instability in their children. And I think that's what Miss Yolanda did to all of her kids. And I can definitely recognize that as something I've seen in my own family. You have got to be above board as a parent because you have got to set examples for your children. And when you are just as immature as they are, you cannot show them how to be, even with you. So don't get mad when they cut you off or disrespect you because you have set the example. And that's what I saw with Miss Yolanda and in this family as a whole, you know. But anyway, that's all I had to say. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Mwah.